How are we doing, folks? Well, it's another day in my garage and time for a bit of tinkering, so I have to pick out which engine I want to work on because I've got quite a few. Let's have a look and see what's here today. So we have a little 2 horsepower Briggs. This Mountfield lawnmower I picked up from my dad, which I need to give a service and repair to. A few little problems with that, but we'll get into that another time. And my Lister D, which needs a paint, but and it needs the decals added to it. But aside from that, it's actually working perfectly. So we might start that anyway and have a look at it in a little while. But the engine I'm actually working on is this one. Now, the thing about this is the fact that I did actually order the parts I needed to make a good start on restoring it and getting it running again, but unfortunately a little mistake on the part of my postman means that I don't have the parts and won't have them for a while. But briggsbits.co.uk, which is where I ordered the parts, have been incredibly helpful and are sending parts again anyways, and should have them shortly. So in the meantime anyway, I am not happy with the fact that I didn't get it running last time, because I believe with a little bit of fiddling I should be able to. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to make sure we can actually get a spark, and I'm talking about a decent spark. The spark plug that was in this was questionable at best, and I know the engine in this Mountfield here runs, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rob the spark plug out of that. It may not be the right spark plug, but it'll work. So that's step 1. Step 2 is I'm going to have another go at cleaning the points, spray them with contact cleaner, and then we're going to put everything back together again and see how we get on. So let's get you guys set up in a tripod and we'll see how we fare out. Okay, so this is the spark plug from the Mountfield, and it is most certainly not a new spark plug, but we know it works. So we're dealing with a part that we know works straight away. So already we're actually in an advantageous situation. So let's give ourselves a little bit of a brush off here first of all anyway. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to get a piece of sandpaper, emery paper, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to just put it in between the points and just give them a good clean. Now I'm going to actually turn the engine so the points will be closed. So there, the points are closed at that position there, right? So now we know that the spring's putting a little bit of clamping force on, and we can give a little bit of it clean up, and hopefully that'll do the trick. I know I cleaned these already before, but the dirt is coming off there now. Look, see on the corner. That's evidence that they still definitely needed to be cleaned a bit more. So we will keep going a little bit more. See, my belief is that actually this engine should really be running. I don't think there's anything major wrong with it. A little bit of contact cleaner never goes amiss. So, right, now we obviously we haven't got a HT lead, an end on the HT lead, but what we'll do is we will put a little clamp of some description on there to hold that wire against the spark plug. So, pop that down there. Do a little nip. Okay, we can worry about that now in a minute, because what we need to do now is we need to put the put a few bits back together again, because obviously it's not going to run like this. So we have our flywheel complete with broken off vane, courtesy of my good self, which wasn't my brightest moment, but there you go. Learning experience, folks. our clutch, and we'll put a couple of bolts. I'm gonna have to put that clutch back together again. All the balls have fallen out of it. So let's start by popping this back on. I know you probably don't really need to put it back on, but for the sake of the couple of minutes it'll take to actually do it, we may as well. So there's a little caution on the outside of the cover for the points that says do not use a steel key. The reason being is that the key is actually designed to shear if something goes wrong, essentially, and stop the engine. So now we should have 6 balls in this starter clutch. Unfortunately we only have 5, but that being said, it'll still work. Hang on now. Okay. I'll show you what I'm doing here. So there is our starter clutch. So you've got this here, which basically, as you turn it, it sends the balls out and catches them and brings them. Basically turns the outer part, but as the engine speed increases, the opposite happens and the balls get pushed back out of the way, and basically that's it. Okay, so you can actually see. So as I turn the starter clutch, you can see that the balls have dropped into the inner groove, which allows me to drive. But then, if you turn this, they go out, and they go out into their little channels. It's really clever, actually. Very simple, very effective. A little contact cleaner there. I got another can of contact cleaner, which was expired, time expired in work, but will do absolutely fine for my purposes. Now, we will need to repair that starter clutch housing. The lid for it is wonky and doesn't stay put very well. So alright, let's turn the engine over. We need to drive. There's two bolts there to hold on this cover, so we will get a ratchet and do those up. I have my set of Imperial quarter drive ratchets here, or socket cleaner. Just do them for a second. What I'll do is I'll go out and get my I have a 10 quarter drive socket set. This is an Armstrong ratchet. I really don't like it. Okay, so that's the cover on for the points now. So next we can, there's our other spark plug, our cover for our igniter plug boot, and conveniently everything is stuck to the magnet for the magneto. So we will be giving that a clean up at some stage, but for the moment it should be absolutely fine. Now take our key out, pop that on. So there's our key, and now, as I said, that key is aluminium. Okay, now the starter clutch is basically the nut for holding on the flywheel as well too. So we thread that on. Just got a couple of taps with mallet just to drive it home. There is a tool for actually doing that, and I've actually ordered the tool, but it's not here yet, so at the moment we'll just have to make do. Feck it anyway. I'm really gonna have to fix this now, to be honest with you. I was hoping that wasn't gonna happen. Right, let's do something about that. It's no use to us. Now, if you just look at the side of it, the side of the thing, it's actually warped. So we will straighten it out, and that should do us. Okay, so that's the starter clutch sorted out now. Anyway, temporarily. I will have to take it apart again to clean it up properly, of course. But for the moment, we should be a bit better off than we were before. So let's get our fan shroud on. Give it a little wiggle, and there it goes. That's on. Right, so one bolt up here. And one bolt in here. And another bolt as well too that goes in here. So 3 bolts hold on the fan shroud. Handy enough. So now the points are basically, I think, are as clean as I'm going to be able to get them, really. To get another ratchet, this is no use to me whatsoever. Actually, you know what we'll do? I've got our battery drill and gun them in. You won't believe what I just found. The 6th ball from the starter clutch was actually on the ground beside the engine. It must have fallen out when I took the fan shroud off the first time. So, there we go, that's handy. Alright, as is this. And now, right. So that's turning over, so now we'll just put a wire onto our spark plug, give it a couple of squirts of fuel down the inlet. It's a bit of a big, thick, ignorant joke, but it should do the job. Put our choke on. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put more petrol in it because I don't think it's up to the level at the bottom of the pickup. So I'll go and get some petrol now. Okay, so now I have the fuel tank is half full of fuel, and I'm just looking at the top of the carburetor. I'm not entirely sure which is open and which is closed as far as the throttle is concerned. So I'm going to just put it halfway and see what happens, and we see, hopefully it'll start. Now, if it doesn't start with a few pulls, what I'll do is then I'll check for a spark, but for the moment we'll just assume we have something. Okay, that's part throttle and a little drop of petrol down the throat of the carb. I'm talking about a tiny little bit now, folks. I'm not talking about drowning it. Oh. Okay, so we have a spark now, so that's great. Hey! Full choke. Okay, so Another little drop of petrol down the carb. Part choke. Alright, so it runs. It's actually very quiet. To be honest with you, I'm surprised how quiet it is. Nice little noise off it. So right, so now what we need to do is we need to find out why the carburetor's not carbureting. We'll just okay, right, it's fair to say that carb is doing nothing. Let's take it off and have a look at it. It's not difficult to pull over, but when you're pulling it for that amount of time, I know, innuendos and all that, it starts to get a little bit more difficult. Alright, so there's this weird, I don't know what it is, it's like a residue all over it. It's like, I don't know what it is, like cobwebs or something like that. But like, if you look at that there, this is all over the engine. I mean, as I said, I never did actually manage to find out what this engine was used for. See all in there? It's like cotton, is what it's actually like. So, maybe it was used for something to process cotton. So let's have a gander now and see what is involved. First of all, we need to just take the fuel tank off. Okay, because although the carb and fuel tank essentially on these engines are all one piece, the screw for the screw to take the whole assembly off is kind of, well, you probably would get it, but it'd be very fiddly, and there's no point because you're going to have to take the fuel tank off afterwards anyway. So what we're going to do now is, there is a screw there, and there's probably a screw down the back as well too. I'll get a bit of light on the subject, and I'll get some more tools, and we'll get set up and see if we can take that apart. Okay, so there's one screw out now. Alright. You know, it could well be a case where, and I'd say it probably is, that whatever is stuffing up the rest of the engine, that kind of cottony material I showed you, is probably all down in the carburetor and everything as well too. Oh, there's only two screws. Okay, so this is coming off straight away. So, a tiny little fuel tank. Now, I'll put that aside. I'm not going to waste my time emptying it or anything like that. So now what we need to do is we need to remove the two screws that are actually holding the carb on. Okay. The great thing is, it does, well, I probably shouldn't say it because I'm putting a pox on myself by saying it, but there's nothing so far that's actually seized up on this engine, like, you know, I mean, that, like, there's no screws that are seized or anything like that. Everything's just walking out. Like even carb is just 4 screws and off it comes. And just disconnect our linkage. So one of the links is for the governor mechanism, and then the other one is a kind of a, so that's the carb off. I mean, that's the beauty of these little engines, is that there's really nothing to them. Now, looking at the screen on the bottom of that's not blocked. Okay, but pop that there. So we'll give this a bit of a clean out. We'll have a look and see what we're dealing with here. Start with brushing it off, and then we'll just I'll actually just, what I'll do is I'll just spray it with some contact cleaner for the moment. I mean, I'm not going to go mad on kind of trying to clean everything up in detail yet. All I want to do is just get it to the point where it's running, and then we can kind of go do the rest then. So there's two links. That one there is for the governor, and that one there is your throttle. So okay, so I'm just taking the main jet out here now, or the adjustment screw. 7.5, 8.5, 9, 10. Okay, 9.5 turns. Remember that. Okay, so now what I want to do is just literally blow through it. Okay, so we'll take this part off now, and that will hopefully allow us to kind of free up anything in there. I think the jet actually was blocked because initially when I was blowing on it there was a resistance, but that resistance isn't there now. Now, so we take this out, little plug and washer, and inside there is your jet. So now we can take the jet out. So okay, so our jet is now out, and we now have alright, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a clean, make sure that the orifice in the jet is free, and once it is, it is. So now we can kind of start reassessing the situation. So I'm going to just try and clean things up a little bit better on the outside of it and that as well too, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I have the carb cleaned out as best I can anyway for the moment without stripping it down completely, and I am just going to refit the fuel tank now. And with any luck, this isn't actually the Pulsar Jet carburetor that I thought it was. There's a type of carburetor that Briggs used that what they do is they actually use the pressure in the crankcase as a sort of a fuel pump. There's a diaphragm and a spring and all that as well too. The 3.5 horsepower Briggs engines use that method, and it's a very clever system. But this doesn't use it actually, even though I thought it would have done. So this is literally just a pickup from the bottom of the tank. So maybe I just need to keep pulling the cord a bit and seeing if it starts picking up fuel. But let's see what happens anyway. So there we go. Fuel tank refitted anyway for a moment. Okay, right now. So let's try it again. See what happens. We'll get you guys set up out of the way. You connect our HT lead, and we'll put you guys over there again. Now, put a little bit of petrol down the carb again and see what happens. I might just get a little bottle and put some petrol in a smaller bottle. There's a small bit in there, so let's give it a go. actually fairly quiet. Now it's smoking now at the moment, so what we do is we'll tweak the carb a little bit. So what you want to do is screw it in until it just starts to die down, and then screw it back out again a little bit. I'd say it's smoking because it's I put oil down the cylinder itself too. Probably burning that off. You know what, let's bring it outside. Okay, so obviously I turned it off before I was going to go carrying it. But I'll try it again. Should start in the first pull now. Well, it's not just cool. I want to leave it running for a little while. The HT lead fell off. Right, I'll get a better solution for holding it on. Mini vice grips to the rescue. The only thing is that obviously I have to be careful not to go touching that with my bare hands when I want to stop it, because there's going to be power on that. So that would be a silly thing to do. To be honest with you, I expected it to be a bit smoother, but I think it's because I broke a blade off the fan that it's kind of a little bit rattly. It's which I think you could make an allowance for. It's my own stupid fault, really. But as I said, it's really smooth and quiet. Let's rev it up a little bit, see how it gets on. Okay, it's bogging down, a little bit more fuel. Smoke is not clearing. I'd say the bore is probably scratched to pieces. But hey, that's why I'm rebuilding it. It's alright. You know, the fact that it's running means that it's all there. So, if you're on the side, you can have a look. Burning more oil than a super tanker. What was it? Black smoke, no poke. White smoke, new poke. Blue smoke, Pope mobiles burning oil. It doesn't know what to be doing with itself revs-wise either. Kind of up and down like a jockey's arse. I love a simulate, by the way, in case you didn't notice that already. Oh. Wonder why that happened. Start it again, see what happens. She's not happy. Oh. There's a puddle of petrol after appearing on the top of the fuel tank there. It's just literally after coming out now, just after it stopped. I think it might have flooded itself. It shouldn't have done, really. Okay, well let's have a look and see what we can do about this. Because obviously, as I said, I wanted to run for a bit longer than that. The spark plug's probably fouled. Let's have a look. Let's take it out and have a look at it. Okay, the plug is sopping wet with petrol and oil, and if you look in at the top of the piston, it is very wet in there indeed. So definitely something wrong there. So I'd say that's part of an issue there anyway. Obviously I know it's not going to start. I'm going to dry it out. It's gas away, you can see the piston flying up and down as you pull it. Simple engineering at its finest. Right, I'm going to clean up the spark plug and we'll try again. I think I might have figured out why it died. There's a little grounding wire in there, and the grounding wire was up against the body of the carburetor. I think it just vibrated itself over that way. So now let's see if we can start it up again. Maybe that's what it was, maybe not. It probably was that though. It's interesting how the smoke is cleared though. Oh, the smoke is making an unwelcome return. Yeah, I think the technical term for this engine is bunched. So it definitely does need a rebuild. So what we'll be doing is we'll be changing the rings and honing it. I know they say you're not supposed to hone the cool bore engines, and this is probably a cool bore, but the thing is, if the cylinder wall is scratched to bits, I don't have much choice in the matter. Better do that than to leave it with all the scratches on. Leave it run for a little while anyway. The other thing is a slightly heavier oil might help too. Okay, now that wire is definitely not touching anything there now, so you can see it there. It was kind of touching the part of the engine was actually supposed to be touching anyway, so I don't think it was that that killed it. And now see the way the puddle of petrol is starting to appear again on it. Okay, so we know it's going to run now anyway. So now it's a case where it's a strip down. So we're gonna disassemble it in the next video and find out exactly what's going on and what we need to do to remedy the situation. But to be honest with you, I'm really happy with that today. If you notice I'm out of breath, I actually have asthma. That's the reason why. Anyway, let's start the lister. Away she goes. Okay folks, we'll leave it there for today's video. Thanks very much for watching and I will see you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.